today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this peppermint swirl. There's also a link for the written pattern in the description below. All right, so I'm going to be using the Caron 1 pound yarn in red and white and a 5mm crochet hook, as well as a yarn needle and some scissors. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we begin, I wanted to just let you know a couple of things about this pattern. It can be a little bit tricky when you're first trying to get the hang of it, but basically what you want to keep in mind to make sure that you're staying on track and keep the look of that swirl consistent is that whatever yarn you're going to be starting your work with right now is the yarn you need to start every round with. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and in general, you'll be fine. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with a magic ring. If you don't like doing a magic ring, you can chain 5 and connect your last chain to your first chain with a slip stitch to have your circle to work in. I prefer a magic ring because it closes up really nice and clean. So you're just going to wrap the yarn around your hand like this and let it cross over itself. Take your hook, put it under that first piece over the next one, and carefully scoop up a loop. Pull your hand out and pick up your working yarn. You want to make sure we're working over both pieces of our yarn here. Okay, so we're going to chain 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet. So we want to have a total of 10 double crochets into our magic ring. So we're going to work 9 double crochets around both pieces of our yarn. So yarn over, push your hook into the magic ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. So you've now got 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2. And you're just going to continue doing that until you have a total of 10. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So grab that little short piece and pull to close your magic ring. And then you're going to close your round with the slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 space from the start of the round. Okay, so now we're going to begin our next round with a chain 3. That counts as a double crochet. And we're going to want 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around to have a total of 20 stitches. But we're going to work 2 red, 2 white, 2 red, 2 white. So we got to alternate our colors here. Okay, so let's go ahead and work our second double crochet in the top of that same space that we just slip stitched and worked our chain 3. So yarn over, push your hook through, yarn over, pull up your loop, finish your double crochet. Now grab your white yarn, and we're not going to be fastening anything off. You can switch your yarn however you like. I like to make a little starting loop for myself. It's just awkward for me to not have a starting loop and try and hold it on. I'm just not very good at that, to be completely honest with you. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that through my little red loop there. So it's a clean change of color. So into that next stitch, I'm going to work 2 double crochet with my white yarn, working around my tail end and my red to keep everything nice and clean. Especially if it's a project where you're going to be seeing the front and the back. You don't want to be having, you know, yarn draping all across. So it's better just to work over it as you go. So that's 1. We're going to work our second double crochet in the same space. We're going to drop the white yarn. Always drop your yarn behind and pick up the yarn that you're going to work with in the front. I don't know. It's, for me, I just feel like it's cleaner. Then you avoid any kind of like anything happening at the bottom in the corners. It still looks fine at the back, so I suppose it's okay if it drapes across the front, but just sharing how I do it. Okay, so when I change my color, I like to just pull it through that loop because of course I want my new color to be the loop that's on my hook before I begin my next stitch. And that way, again, at the top, you're avoiding any weird stretches, and it just keeps it looking nice and clean all the way around. So let's work our 2 double crochets into the following stitch. Drop our red, pick up the white, pull it through our little loop, and now we've got the white on our hook, and we're going to work 2 more in the next. And I won't bore you with dragging it out and watching me do it all the way around. I just wanted to really help eliminate any kind of, sometimes I can make a little bad habit of saying a next step instruction a little bit too quickly and then moving on to the next step. And with this, it took me a little while to learn this one and get comfortable with it. So I really wanted to make sure that you feel comfortable with the switching of colors and what exactly we're doing. All right, so you're just going to continue on doing your 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around, making sure that you're switching your yarn to have your red and white. So 2 red stitches, 2 white stitches, 2 red, 2 white, all the way around. Close with a slip stitch in the top of your chain 3 and then come back, because we're going to start our next round a little bit differently. Okay, I really should have told you to come back before you close with a slip stitch. So if you already closed your round with a slip stitch using the white yarn that we already had on our hook, makes total sense, but undo it please and come back to your work looking like this, where you've just finished. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 stitches all the way around. I really recommend, again, just to keep it looking, you want the beginning of your work, well, your end and your beginning, where it meets, to look the same as everywhere else. So you don't want to close your round with your slip stitch using the white to then begin the next round with your red, because you will have like this little piece that sort of is, it just looks different than the rest. All right, so we're going to pull the red through the loop, because that's what we're going to want to start next with. And then into the top of that chain 3 space, we're going to then close our round with our slip stitch. And see how that just looks a little bit more, it looks like all the other ones. So you can't really tell where the work starts and ends, and it just avoids the look of a seam, I guess. And I just personally prefer that. Okay, so now we need to make sure that we are starting to make that swirl happen. And when you look at that peppermint swirl, it's kind of off balance, which is what gives that swirly effect. If we were in line with all of our stitches here, it's just going to look like a pinwheel, not a peppermint swirl. So let's go ahead. Oh, pardon me. I forgot to pull my white yarn when I did my slip stitch. So let me just redo that really quickly. Okay. So in our first stitch of every round, we're going to just slip stitch. That way we're starting here rather than here. I hope that makes sense. Chain 3 to start our next round. Of course, the chain 3 counting as a double crochet. So in this round, we worked 2 red, 2 white, 2 red, 2 white. In this next round, we're going to work 3 red, 3 white, 3 red, 3 white, all the way around. We're going to be increasing still. So we're working 2 double crochet in our first, 1 in the next. 2 in the following, 1 in the next. So here in the same stitch that we just slip stitched into and worked our chain 3, we're going to work another double crochet with our red. And then in this next stitch, we're going to work 1 double crochet. Okay, we're going to drop the red, pick up our white, get it through our little loop so that the white is on our hook now. And in that next stitch, we're going to work 2 double crochets. And then 1 in the following. Drop the white, pick up the red, get that onto your loop, and you'll continue around. So 2, 1, 2, 1, but making sure that 3 stitches are red, 3 are white, 3 are red, all the way around. Close with a slip stitch in the top of your chain 3 with your red yarn, and then come back. All right, so now that you finished that round, you can kind of see your peppermint swirl starting to take effect. All right, so now we closed our round with our slip stitch in the top of the chain 3. We need to slip stitch into that first one of the round to move our way over. Chain 3. And now we're following, you can really keep on working this as big or as small as you want to. It depends on whatever project you're working on. I'm not working on any particular project right now in this video. This is really just to show you how you can do the peppermint swirl crochet. It's more for the technique than an actual project. But if I do have patterns or video tutorials to share with a peppermint swirl, I will link them in the description below. So depending on when you're seeing this video, have a look at that. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just work another round with you to make sure that you do understand feel comfortable. I shouldn't say understand, I'm sure you understand, but feel comfortable with the whole concept of this and start to really see the look start to take effect. So let's do one more round together. And then I'll leave you to it to work on whatever kind of project you want using this peppermint swirl technique. So now we did 2 red, 2 white in this first color changing round. This time we did 3 red, 3 white. So as I'm sure you can guess, this next one's going to be 4 red, 4 white. And just remember, the most important part of this is to always work a slip stitch in the first stitch of the round, because you want to start your rounds off balanced a little bit, because that's how you see how each one is starting to go into, like when you finish your 3, you're starting in that first white one, and that's what you want to have happening. Okay, so now we're going to work 2 double crochet into 1 stitch and then 1 into each of the following 2. So we're going to yarn over, work into that same stitch that we just slip stitched into. So we've got our 2 double crochets. Then we're going to work 1 in the next and 1 into the following. So now we have our 4 red double crochets at the beginning. We're going to drop the red, pick up the white, and get that onto our hook and work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. One into each of the following 2. Drop the white, pick up the red, get that onto your hook. Work 2 double crochet into the first, one double crochet into each of the following 2. Drop our red, pick up our white, get that onto the hook, and continue around. So go ahead and finish this round. Close with your slip stitch in the top of your chain 3, and then come back and we'll have a look at what we've got. All right, so now we finished that round, and now you can really see that peppermint the peppermint swirl starting to take effect. I hope that I've helped you understand and learn a new concept a little bit better than maybe before, or even just brand new to begin with. So before I leave you to it, I just want to go over a couple more of those really key concepts to get that look consistent. You just want to make sure that you slip stitch into the top of your chain with your color that you're going to want to start your next round with. You always need to start the next round with a slip stitch into the first stitch. And you're going to gradually increase how many stitches you're doing with each color until you get to the size that you're happy with. I hope you enjoyed this pattern and this video tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a look at the helpful links in the description below.